Hey, so how's it going? So today we're in Lightroom. We're gonna do a Lightroom tutorial, and in this tutorial we're just gonna talk about my workflow, a couple tips and tricks. Maybe I'll teach you a couple of hot keys. Maybe we'll go into split toning, the tone curve, all of that cool stuff. So first off, I'm recovering from a sore throat, so my voice is kind of hoarse, and also I'm recording this on my iPhone because my MacBook doesn't input audio anymore. Once upon a time, I took it to Apple to get my hard drive fixed, and apparently they messed up my audio input, which is going to cost me a lot of money, so it's not even worth fixing, which sucks. But yeah, so if you can, please spare me the horrible audio comments. But yeah, so let's get right into this. We're going to one of my favorite photo shoots. Hint, hint, all of my photo shoots are honestly my favorite photo shoot. But we're going to one of my favorite photo shoots with Lexi, at Mead Gardens. So we're just gonna go in here and pick a couple photos that we like. Now, what I like to do is I'll go through all of the photos after a photo shoot, every single one of them. And this one took about 500 photos, but yeah, I'll go through them and then I'll just hit B for the ones that I like. Now, what B does is put it in the quick selection folder. So let's say I like this one, right? I'm gonna put that in the quick selection. I like that one too, so B. And I just like quickly go through them. A lot of the photos are basically the same photos because I'll take like 4 or 5 at a time. And yeah, so like I just go through these really quickly. If you look at the top left, I'm not sure if this is for everybody's Lightroom, but for me, they show up a lot quicker than they do on the bigger screen, right? So if I'm just going through them quickly and my computer is taking too long, I'll look at the top right, or the top left, and I mean, if it looks like something that I might like, I'll wait until it loads. But for the most part, I just kind of quickly go through these things. And as you can see, my MacBook is chugging. It's really slow right now. I really need to upgrade it. Actually, we can do this one. This will be a good one to show you about if you accidentally overexpose the picture. You always want to shoot in RAW because when you shoot in RAW, you can actually fix this, and I'll show you how. We'll just get about 2 more. You can take that one. Again, I'm hitting B to put it into the quick selection tool. What did I do with this? I completely messed this up. But we're not talking about that right now. But yeah. So as you can see over here at the left, how they're quickly updating, but they're not really updating here. So yeah, that's more or less what I was talking about. And we'll get out of these. I really like this photo set. So we are going to, I don't know if you noticed it down here at the bottom, but those 5 stars, I'll tell you about those in a second. A lot of people use them, I guess, for different things, but me personally, I'll tell you how I use them in a second. We'll put this in there. Or what I do, okay. There we go. I wasn't, I guess, in the app. Okay, we're gonna put this in there. Again, I'm just hitting B. And again, me personally, I like to go through them really, really quickly. Because if it doesn't jump out at me, then I mean it's not worth editing, or at least to me. And I didn't really want to go into these over here because I really did like the earlier ones, so we're just gonna stick with that for now. But yeah, so once I get the photos that I want, I'll go up here to, again, on the left side, and then where it says quick selection plus or whatever, right? And then I go through them again to see if I really want to edit them. If I don't want to edit them, what I would do is I'll hit B again, and B just deletes it from the quick selection. Now, what I've recently started to do, right, is I'll get a bunch of edits together, right? And then the ones that I really, really like, I'll hit 5. And 5 just lets me know I've edited this photo and I like it. Because a lot of times I have like 30 or 40 pictures, and sometimes I go back through them and I'm like, okay, did I edit this photo? Do I like this? So 5 is just a reminder that I edited it and I like it. But anyway, we are going to hit 0 to take away that 5 to not confuse myself. And we're going to go to the develop tab. And let's start off with this one here. So let's say you're out in the photo shoot, you misread the lighting outside, and you accidentally overexpose, right? But you really like the image. You honestly, if you shoot in RAW, you can fix that very easily. You just go over here to the exposure tab, and this is probably the only time that I touch the exposure tab is if I accidentally under or overexpose the photo. Just want to bring it down just a little bit, and then all of this right here, we can probably fix this with the highlight shadows and stuff like that. Maybe bring the highlights up. What am I doing? Maybe bring the shadows out a little bit. Bring the blacks down just a tad. And then the whites, you might want to bring those up just a little bit. And then you can just play around with that. But, and I'm sorry, my whole voice and shit. But yeah, you can probably play around with that and see we took that photo from this to this by just adjusting a couple of sliders. So again, if you ever overexpose or underexpose a photo, don't worry too much, because more than likely, as long as you shoot in RAW, you can fix that in Lightroom. Now, if you shot in JPEG, it'll be a little bit harder to fix. And then what I did there to put the before and after, I hit Y. Y is the before and after hotkey. Let me see. But for the sake of this video and the edit, I think I want to do this one here. So let's talk about cropping, right? I don't like how her shoulder is halfway out. So most times if you shoot in, I want to say 16:9 on your camera, and you can go to the camera settings and adjust that, it'll leave extra room for post cropping. So I can add that in if I want to, right? And I can add the entire images in if I wanted to. So, I mean, there's that. And again, you can always take it away. Now, let's say if you wanted to edit specifically for Instagram, right? You want to upload your Instagram picture, you want your entire edit to be in the frame. I know Instagram likes to crop stuff. You can actually go here to the crop tool, and then there's a section you go to 1:1. Now what 1:1 does is basically makes a square. And this is basically Instagram, like the Instagram crop mode. Or you can just custom crop it, which I normally do. I just custom crop stuff for all of my photos. And there we go. Bring it back out. You can actually go into 1:1 of these tools right here. Now this right here tool is the healing tool, or the spa tool, or whatever you call it. I don't like this tool right here in Lightroom, because in my opinion it sucks. It's really bad. Sometimes, like for small blemishes and stuff like that, it works for you, but for big stuff, I'd say honestly, just do it in Photoshop. And then there's a heal, then there's a clone tool. Now, the clone side of it, obviously, let's say I wanted to, I guess, add this to here. You just click this. Well, wrong thing, I'm sorry. I wanted to add this to here. You just click here and then basically move this to that. And it clones it for you, which, again, like I said, anything like that, do it in Photoshop. Honestly, don't even touch this button. This one here, I never use, I think it's like the red eye tool or something like that, which I never really have red eye in my photos. This one here, I would only use for landscaping photos. It's a gradient filter. So let's say you wanted to fix the sky or something like that, right? You just do this. And sometimes, I mean, you might find instances where you might use it in portrait photos and stuff like that, but for the most part, I only use it for landscape photos. But yeah, it just basically masks off an entire area, and then you can adjust that side of the photo. But we're not going to use that in this one here. This photo, not photo, but this one here is just a radial filter. So let's say maybe the person's face was too dark. You can bring this around their face, I mean, mine's already set, but you would hit invert and then you would just lighten it up just a little bit. And I mean, that's how you would use that for this photo. We don't need that, so we're not gonna use it. And then this one here is just a brush tool. You can use this in a lot of different ways. Again, for the same thing, like let's say this area here, this area down here, I don't like it. It's too dark or whatever. You just paint that and you just adjust it how you see fit. Now, a lot of times, I mean, I don't really like to use it that much because you see what it's doing right now, right? So you just want to be careful with it. Now, let's say you do this and you mess it up, you can always just double tap on any of the words to like bring it back to the original setting. So again, like I said before, me personally, when I edit the photo, unless I mess up the exposure, I don't touch exposure contrast. I just go directly into the highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. Now, good tip, when you're doing like the whites and blacks and stuff like that, you want to hold Option, which I think on Windows is Alt. Is it Alt or is the Windows key, one of the two. But you would just hold it and then slide left to right, and then as soon as you see like the little small white part that knows you're in a good white, you go with your whites, and then the same thing with the blacks. And you just scroll, and then as soon as you see the smallest bit of black, that knows you're good with your blacks, right? And then, I mean, obviously you can always just kind of go off your eye and see what you actually like. But I mean, that's a good tool though. I mean, that's a good tip. Me, I would just basically go with what I like when I'm doing the shadows and highlights. So let's see, I want to bring them up a little bit, so I'll do that. The highlights, sometimes the highlights like killing the photo, so I'll take them all the way down. But in this one, I kind of like it a little bit, maybe about right there. And then clarity, dehaze, vibrance, and saturation. Never really touched this on never really touched these on portraits, or me personally. If I want to add any clarity or any sharpness, anything like that, I'll add it in Photoshop. But I'll just show you what they do to the photo. In my opinion, it completely messes it up. And saturation and stuff like that, like she looks like a cartoon character now. You don't want to do all of that. But like, she's on what's the TV show, Jersey Shore, got like a super tan. But anyway, now we can go into the tone curve. Now the tone curve, a lot of people, this is what they'll do. They'll add 3, and this is basically just like standard in photography. I didn't make this up. Somebody else made it up, and everybody just basically follows it because, I don't know, it just looks good, I guess. But you know, you crush your blacks, you crush your whites. Now you don't really have to do this. This is, this kind of gives it that hazy, desaturated look. Again, you just play with it, see what you like. Me personally, again, I've never went over about 5 messing around with it. But like, you see what happened if you completely go crazy with it. But it does take some time to get used to. And for the most part, an S curve will probably be fine. But then again, like I said, you can get crazy into it. Now if you can see like the small variations of with the blacks and stuff like that, I'll zoom in a little bit more into here so we can see what's going on with that. So I added a new one, brought that down, and this is basically making it darker a little bit, which we don't want for this image. All right. Now this right here is the hue, saturation, and luminance. Me, I like to keep them all up at the same time. Some people just kind of like do them separately. But let's say, let me get a good one. Let's say green to yellow, right? You can literally change the colors of the objects in the image. So let's say I wanted to give this a more of a fall feeling, right? I turn the leaves orange or yellow, right? but, or maybe I want to give this more of a, an earthy feeling out, darken those up a little bit, right? And then you, again, like I said, you can just adjust. You can basically just change the colors of things in here. Play around with this right here a little bit, and again, it's all about what looks right to you. Like, let's say I didn't like that flower being pink, so I turned it purple. Actually, for this photo, we're gonna keep it purple, and then we're gonna just bring this up a little bit. But then you gotta be careful sometimes too, because I didn't notice this, but by me turning the flower purple, it turned her lips purple. We don't want that. And you can do like masking and stuff like that, I think, but I don't do that. I don't really know how to do that, so we're not gonna go into that. And saturation, I mean, you should probably already know what saturation is. Let's say I don't want green to be in the photo, so I'll take out green. So now green is like a black and white color, right? Or I don't want the pink in it. You know, we're not really gonna mess with that on this photo. And then luminescence, I don't really understand luminescence that much. Sometimes I'll play around with it. For the most part, I just leave it alone. Like I use it a lot with skin tones and stuff like that. So maybe I think her skin is too light or her skin is too dark. I'll just maybe want her to look a little bit more pale, right? We can do that, or we can darken the skin up just a little bit. But we'll just keep it right there for now for this photo. And then again, now we get into split toning. Sorry if I'm going fast. That's kind of why I made the video. So if you feel like I'm going too fast, you don't understand anything, you can pause it, rewind and stuff like that. But split toning, right? So normally for split toning, I like to kind of stay on the opposite spectrums of the color wheel. So let's say if I do a green for the highlights, maybe I'll do like a reddish or an orange tint for the shadows, right? Then I'm just gonna completely foobar this entire photo just so I can show you exactly what it does. Like, this is what it's doing to the highlights, and then then this is what it's doing to the shadows. So this is what they look like at full capacity. Who knows, maybe you like the way this looks and you wanna and you want to edit your photo this way. Whatever you think looks nice, but me personally, I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, so, and you can also adjust the balance to it. So let's actually go back to that. I wanted to be more with the shadows, or maybe with the highlights. You know, you can definitely adjust it. You can definitely adjust that. But actually, I kind of like this though. So this is what it looks like without that, and then this is kind of what it looks like when you bump that up just a little bit, and then we're gonna go up here, bump it up just to, actually no, I like it better back here. But yeah, so I like this. We don't really have to go into all of this right here, detail. If you want to sharpen the image up or whatever, you can do that. And then I will show you what that looks like. Like, let's say if your image is a little soft or whatever, right? You want to just sharpen it up, you can do that. If your image is grainy, overly grainy, you can definitely bring this up right here to noise reduction. But what the noise reduction does is it blurs those pixels together, so your image may look a little blurry, right? So we don't want to do that. Gotta get rid of this. Lens correction. I mean, Lightroom automatically knows what you want, or like what you shot with, and I shot with my 50mm with this image, so I mean, we'll have to go into that. I never really touch this if I do portraits. I think this is more for landscapes again, because landscape sometimes you get the warping at the end of the photo and stuff like that. And then this right here is, let's say the image isn't positioned correctly, right? Or maybe your framing was off a little bit. You can fix that in here. A lot of times I just do this, but I mean, it messes up. I actually liked it the way it looked before, but I mean, change the aspect or whatever. For the most part, you're only going to be touching rotate, but I mean, this is what these things do right here. Scale. Ooh, come on now. You were doing fine the entire video and you want to mess up now? There we go. Vignetting. I mean, for a photo like this, I wouldn't really do any vignetting. But I mean, it's there as an option. Grain. Again, I mean, for a photo like this, I wouldn't really want to add any grain. And there you go. I like the way this photo looks. Okay, let's say if you wanted to print your photo out, right? And you wanted to know what your photo would look like before you printed it. Let's, whatever you want to do, a soft proof. You just hit S. And S soft proofs the image, and it shows you what it will look like printed out on a white piece of printer paper. T brings up your tools. Y again gives you your before and after, and you can see what the image looked like before and what the image looked like after I edited it. Okay, there we go. I was confused for a second. I was like, they don't look different at all. But yeah, we can see what the image looked like before I edited it, or before you edited it. Down here, don't touch these. I've messed my before and after preview a lot of times messing with these right here, and I can't even tell you how I got it back. So yeah, don't touch these down here. Oh yeah, another thing, creating presets, right? So I like this photo. I'm editing an entire set of these images, and I want them to all look the exact same. So I don't want to like, okay, look at this photo, go back, edit the photo. No, I don't want to do all of that, right? You just want to create a preset. You're using Windows, so I don't really know what the equivalent to on Windows, but on Mac is Command-Shift-N. And then that creates a new preset. And you just title the preset whatever you want to name it, create a folder for it. And we're just going to call this, let me see, T1 for tutorial 1. Put this in my revised presets. We're just going to create it. Now, actually, I think on Windows, it might be the Windows key, Shift, and then N. But again, I'm not sure. So yeah, we did that, and then we want to edit this photo to look exactly like the last photo. And this is kind of what I do when I first jump into an edit anyway. Like I'll go through all of my presets or whatever, see which fits. If nothing fits, then I'll just edit it from scratch. That's how you can actually lower your edit times too. It's kind of like that. Oh, it's really nice. We're not doing it right now. There we go. T1. Now, every preset is not going to work for every photo. As you can see, that preset just basically destroyed this image. It looks horrible. So sometimes you're not going to want to do that for all of the photos, I guess, in the set. But for the most part, if they're, I guess, shot in the same area and stuff like that, they have the same lighting or whatever, you can use the preset for that. But in this instance, there was different lighting and it was like a different area, different angle. It just completely messed it up. So I'm just gonna go back here and do that. And I really like that. But yeah, so after this right here, of course, I like this photo. Actually, she's a little too green. I don't like how green she is. And this is something that you're gonna have to figure out yourself, whether you like, basically what you like, right? So we're gonna go back to split tone. We're gonna turn this down just a little bit. And we're gonna turn it down just a little bit. There we go. But yeah, with split toning, you can actually sometimes do the exact same color, you know, and then it'll still look pretty decent. It's all basically how you feel, what looks good to your eye and stuff like that. And sometimes you can just completely get rid of the shadows and then you'll just use the highlights, right? Or sometimes you can completely get rid of the highlights and just use the shadows. But yeah. Actually, let's see what this photo looks like with this preset on it. Oh, I like it a lot. And sometimes you get instances like this. I know I said I'm going to end the video, but sometimes you get instances like this where you already have a preset made and you just spent all of that time editing one photo and you just use a preset and you like it way better than your edit, which is cool too. It's all a learning experience. And you see up here, I barely even touched the tone curve. It's barely, right? When I did that. But I don't know. I like this a lot. A lot better than the my edit actually. But then again, they're going for two different moods, the tones or whatever, right? I really like this one, but I just like this one just a little bit more. I guess I like the lighter tones or whatever. And I added some blues and stuff in there. Blue's my favorite color, so that's probably why. But yeah, again, thank you if you made it this far. Let me know what you think. Hopefully, again, like I said, just gave you some, just help you out just a little bit. Help you out maybe with your workflow or anything like that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.